Hi, and welcome to the Revive, Thrive, and Optimize podcast. I'm Billy Weiss, compounding pharmacist and health and wellness expert. Today, as always, behind the scenes, Mike, across from me, Janet. Good morning, and good morning, everybody out there.
Well, it's still dark out there.
Yep.
And this is take 2, lights, camera, action. We started off this morning talking about highlights from last weekend's annual wellness summit. So one time a year, Billy puts a class together that makes my head explode, and it's still exploding from last week. And I wanted to continue talking about some of the highlights because even though I've taken the class about 10 times, I learned so much more. And it was so cool to be sitting in that room with people from Atlanta, Georgia, from Louisiana, from South Carolina, North Carolina, to have other doctors, to have pharmacists and an NP there who are also helping to educate us, and an engineer, and just, you know, all the people. So in our last episode, please go listen to it. We talked about some of the highlights, and I'm going to keep going with that same topic. So let's talk about...
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend, Janet. What a great group of people.
And one of the things that stuck out the most was that she's a PA or a nurse practitioner who did the demo about medical grade red light. And I know you have a medical grade red light bed. And some of the science and data behind what's happening with red light bed to me is so amazing. And can you talk a little bit about what is red light, the photomodulation, and about the example that she showed us? Yeah,
so photobiomodulation. So what I did was Stephanie is treating a patient that she's treated before with leg ulcers.
Mm-hmm. They looked horrible. I mean, we had lots of pictures.
Yeah, she's 80 years old, and she can just literally scratch her leg. Her skin is just really thin, and she doesn't have good blood flow anymore in her lower legs.
And she showed us where there was no blood flow and sores.
And you think about the shins. I mean, we don't. None of us have a ton of skin and blood flow there, so it's a very thin skin area. But anyway, this lady has had multiple ulcers on her legs, lower legs, and Stephanie has treated her in the past. And it's been very, very difficult to get this lady's ulcers to heal up. And so she measures them, takes pictures of them, and treats her, on a nightly. She goes every day, every evening, and does her treatments.
And she was using hyperbaric chamber or that kind of healing.
No, I don't know that she ever used hyperbaric. I think that they may have talked about it because the previous sores before these more current sores, Stephanie had a really, really difficult time getting them to heal up. I mean, it took a long, tedious process. And it's cumbersome because you have to go and you have to dress them and you have to treat them and you have to put the hose on and you have to, it's not a short process, and it's very inconvenient for a very active 80-year-old woman. And so
what did she do different this time?
So this time, because now we have the red light bed, we have the Trifecta 450, which is a true red light bed that gives us the right wavelengths at the right power in the right amount that we need. She asked her to come to the red light bed and treat her legs, and she did not want to do this. And she's like, I want you to please go to the red light bed. I read the studies, you need to do it.
And not just any red light. It's not the kind you could just get on Amazon and do it at home.
Unfortunately, it's not what we're talking about when you talk about buying a panel off the internet. That's not what we're talking about. This is a full, think a tanning bed full of red lights.
Okay. That's
half you can see and half you can't see, because there's certain wavelengths that our eyes can't see, but it's penetrating even deeper. So what happened is, after just 3 treatments, the change in her sores was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the fact that they started to heal almost immediately after the red light. And even more, I think, shocking to all of us was that when Stephanie would take her pictures and look at this lady's legs, all of a sudden she had hair growing on her legs.
Which means there must be oxygen blood flow.
Well, there's more blood flow, which brings more oxygen, which this lady has not had hair grow on her legs in decades.
Wow.
So think about this. We now, I'll call it our own little research, that this lady has done of going in to the red light bed, seeing her sores heal at a phenomenally quicker rate than before.
It's documented with photos by the day.
Documented with photos, documented that she has hair growing on her legs. And even to me, more shocking is the color of her skin.
Yes.
In her lower legs.
The blood flow coming
has
back.
changed dramatically from you've seen people that don't have good blood flow and they kind of get that dark tint to their skin, like there's
purple
pooled blood,
yeah,
the purple.
Yeah.
That has improved dramatically in her legs. And that's 3 times a week. She could not get her to commit to more than 3 times a week.
And she didn't put her whole body into the red light bed, did she?
We have to set up a chair and we have to let her put her legs in. And we tried to convince her to just get into bed and lay
down.
She quickly informed us she was 80 and she didn't have to, and she was not going to. So we set her up a chair, a blanket, and got her legs in.
And if you've never done it, you don't get hot. It's not scary.
And it's not.
You just lay there.
It's actually the most relaxing 12 minutes of your day.
And it's 12 minutes.
It's 12 minutes. It is unbelievable how many people say, man, I fell asleep. The most relaxing 12 minutes of my day. And I can tell you, for me, it is a time that I get in there every morning, and that is the most relaxing 12 minutes. It's where I pray.
I was going to say you could pray or meditate or whatever.
It's so relaxing to be in that. Just think of a nice, gently warm sun shining on you. Just think of a nice, warm summer morning, and it's like,
totally quiet, peaceful.
Yep. Yep. All you
private.
really hear is the fans running, pulling the heat away from you. I mean, outside of that, it is so just, it's kind of like a good white noise,
And with the red light, it can heal injuries quicker. What are some of the other things that it does? And it's good for your skin, obviously.
Well, we know that red light is very anti-inflammatory. Okay, so for injuries, for pain, for inflammation, for skin conditions.
For your eyesight.
For blood flow to any part of the body, for testosterone production for men, for hormone production, estradiol and progesterone for women, for DHEA production for men and women. Fat burning. It actually increases metabolism, or ATP, energy inside the cells.
It's great for your mitochondria.
It lowers blood sugar. I mean, it does. So I have a type 1 diabetic. Every time she gets in, her blood sugar's lower because she's constantly, she's wearing a continuous monitor. So we know that the way that I think there's so many studies on photobiomodulation. You probably won't find just red light studies, but they call it photobiomodulation. You can look up just about anything you can think of, and you will find benefit. And when you think of, the easiest way for me to explain it is, think of all, and I know the sun has been demonized wrongly. Think of all the positive benefits from the sun. I mean, life does not exist, period, without the sun, without any of the side effects. You can't burn yourself. You can't tan yourself. You can't do any of that. You're only getting all the positive benefits of the sun.
I had a client yesterday who was asking me about, she's had skin cancer a few times, and it was, a bad kind. And she's not supposed to be in the sun. And she said, what about a red light bed?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Because, I don't know why she shouldn't be in the sun. Maybe that's the first thing we should find out. But if it's because of scare of skin cancer or burning, this will not cause any of that. You don't get any of the rays that do any of those things. You can lay in it 4 hours a day and you're not going to tan yourself.
Kind of wish it would tan me, but.
But, when Stephanie started reporting to me and said the lady was okay with her sharing, so Stephanie's showing me the pictures, and she's circling hairs and she's circling circulation where the purple color's gone, and she's
the
circling,
sore getting smaller by the day,
circling the measurements on the sore that last time took her months and months and months, and in 3 sessions in 1 week were better. I was like, would you talk about this at the summit? Because I can talk about red light all day, but you've got show and tell here.
Yeah, and it was great.
And so, her 15 or 20 minutes that she did that, I think is way more valuable than me saying, well, the study show. I mean, this is a real live person right here in our area that is having just phenomenal results in a very short amount of time. So
another reason to come
is really beneficial for anything and everything, honestly. And I know that sounds maybe crazy, but it really can help just about anything you can think of.
I looked at my husband and said, get me one.
Well, the problem is, Janet, I think that bed's about $90,000. So it's not necessarily inexpensive. But as you know, with everything, like we talked about this weekend with the supplements that I formulate, with the compounds that I make, I did a ton of research before I bought a red light bed. I do not look. I don't, there's some of these global gyms that say they have red light beds. Those are not what we're talking about.
Well, I know you do your due diligence on everything is about quality.
I flew to some clinics in Florida that were using this bed. I talked to the owner, the inventor of the beds. I did a ton of research before I bought this bed. And yeah, it was expensive, very expensive. Obviously, it's a huge investment, but the results of the bed speak for themselves. So just like with the supplements, just like with the compounds, just like with the red bed, just like with the food that we served this weekend, you have to go quality. If you want to take care of your body, you have to emphasize quality on all these things that go in and on and around your body.
And it might cost more, but there's things that we're doing that we could let go of that are costing money also.
Nothing costs more than a heart attack or diabetes, Janet. I mean, or overweight or obesity or chemotherapy. So invest in yourself. And yeah, it may be more expensive, quote, to do so. But I promise you, in the long run, it's less expensive. The average diabetic spends $35,000 more per year on health care than a non-diabetic. Wow. The average heart attack victim that survives spends an extra $100,000 over the course of the rest of their life on average. So nothing's more expensive than getting in the medical system and being a victim of a chronic disease. It's just not.
Wow. So exciting, and another reason to come and be here in person, because you get to see these live testimonials or these live pictures and demonstrations. And you were talking about quality, and you started the weekend sharing about how, you deep dive into everything because you're about quality first. It took you years to source and put together your supplements because I believe they're the highest quality supplements that you can get. And that's what we take. And then we found cheaper sources. And so then we tried those and they didn't work like yours did. So we went back to taking yours. But I thought it was really cool being the CEO of your own health. Someone at the summit shared that what she does with her supplements, with her hormones, with everything that she's taking, she peels off the labels so that you can see all the ingredients. She tapes them onto pages of notes in her notebook, and then she takes that to her doctor. So when the doctor says, what are you taking? She doesn't just say, well, I'm taking vitamin B, a multivitamin, but she can show all the things that are in that B vitamin, for instance, and whether it's got folic acid. And we did a deep dive on folic acid and a deep dive in what is in our supplements, what we need, what to take. Can we take too much? And can you talk a little bit about folic acid?
Yeah, well, Janet, folic acid is the term that you'll hear thrown around for things that pregnant ladies need.
Yeah.
And it's really tragic because folic acid is an inactive form of B9. It's a B vitamin. And we know that with the latest research, at least 65% of Americans cannot methylate well.
Right.
They have a pathway in their body, or multiple pathways, some people, that doesn't allow proper methylation. And what that means is the ability to convert an inactive folic acid into 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which is what you would find in nature.
And if you can't convert it,
it can be toxic.
Horrible for you.
Very toxic.
It can make you so sick.
The idea of telling women who are trying to get pregnant or want to get pregnant, or anybody, man, woman, child, doesn't matter, to take folic acid is a real tragedy.
Now, I see on package labels in our food, fortified with folic acid all the time.
Fortified or enriched means they've added back very cheap folic acid, and now they can claim that it's got a vitamin in it or a B vitamins in it. So the problem is, Janet, if you can't convert that folic acid to 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, your body gets no benefit and can be very harmful. So in all not just, that's one great example, folic acid is, but all of my vitamins, all the ingredients in all of my vitamins are the active forms. Your body does not have to work. Your body does not have to figure out how to convert. Your body does not have to figure out how to methylate something. And so what happens to a lot of people is there are things called factors and cofactors in our body. So if we take, quote, a folic acid, or we take an ascorbic acid, which is, most people's version of vitamin what they say is vitamin C. The body has to take factors and cofactors to convert that. It has to work. It takes energy. It takes ATP. It takes different substances. And we can actually create a nutritional deficiency in these factors and cofactors. And if we can't methylate, it doesn't matter because we can't convert it anyway.
Yeah.
And so when we don't methylate well, we don't detox well. We don't break proteins down well. We don't do a lot of things well. So let's give the body what it needs. Let's give the body the methylated vitamins, and we don't have to worry about those things anymore. Unless we have like a really severe case where there are certain vitamins that we will add to the methylated B vitamins to help push their methylation pathways even harder.
Should we all just assume that we can't methylate, or should we get the test done?
You can certainly have the test, Janet. It's expensive. It is way, whether you can methylate or not, you should be on the highest quality vitamins. So we're not using up factors and cofactors and energy. So yeah, you can certainly do the test. I don't think that it's necessary, because if you're using a quality supplement like ours, because everything I formulated is going to help you methylate. It's already methylated.
And that magic word energy kind of hit me last weekend, because I'm always trying to put the right things in my body to give me energy, but I don't often think about the extra energy it takes, like if something is going wrong. I want to have everything my body needs plus extra. And if I'm putting the wrong things in my body's having to work harder to detox and get that stuff out. And it's like the light bulb went on that's like, oh, I want to stop putting that bad stuff in my body because I need that extra energy when something else comes along. And one thing that happened, I think I was just, not getting enough sleep last weekend. I had company staying with me. I was working. We had a funeral. We had the class going on, and I had booked concert tickets for a late night show on Saturday night. So, we didn't get much sleep. So on Monday, I kind of started feeling like, oh, I'm run down. Mm-hmm. And when I feel run down, I start to maybe think, am I going to get sick? Did I catch something? And I started to feel like maybe I was getting a fever. And then I remembered, what's the first thing you want to do when you get a fever is not take Tylenol. Right. You want to heat your body up. So the first thing I did was go get in the sauna and try to heat my body up. I took a hot bath that same day. And then I even went to hot yoga the next day, because I knew from, what you'd said, if we can heat our body up, that it spikes our immune system. And then maybe we don't get sick, or that we diminish the time that we would be sick.
Well, I think the thing that is misunderstood is that the fever is the body's natural way to amp up the immune system. Yeah. It turns on the immune system. It turns on a thing called natural killer cells, which are white blood cells that are going out to find the enemy and get rid of the enemy.
Or whatever, yeah.
And so the idea of suppressing a fever, Janet, has never made sense to me, ever.
Unless you're the makers of Tylenol.
Well, if you make Tylenol or Advil, maybe. But outside of that, suppressing a fever, I bet many of you that are, over 40 can maybe think back to your grandmother or your great-grandmother. You would be sick, or you would have a fever, and they would tell you to get under a bunch of blankets.
And sweat.
Yeah. Because they just instinctively knew.
Or a hot bath.
If you could do that you would get better quicker.
Yeah.
And so there are actually, clinics, cancer clinics.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Outside of the United States that actually induce fevers. I've spent weeks at some of these clinics. They induce fevers in patients to help boost their immune system. And I was reading last night, some of these fevers in adults, they will induce up to 107 degrees.
That's what my next question was going to be.
People,
how high?
I don't know. I don't want to give advice on how high is too high. But I know we are way too conservative in what we think is too high.
So you're not worried when somebody has 103 or 104?
No, you're not going to feel good at 103 or 104. No. You're not going to be like jumping around feeling like $1 million. But that is your body's signal to your immune system to, hey, start working.
Yeah.
We've got an invader. Let's get rid of that invader. Let's go find him. And so I'm not a fan of suppressing a fever. Our kids never got Tylenol or ibuprofen for any fevers because we would use probiotics, our vitamin C, our vitamin D, our GI Protect, our immunoglobulins. I mean, that's the kind of thing that our kids always got, and they never had to have an antibiotic. So we need to think of the body's processes. It's not, oh, I got a fever, let's suppress it. I think it's more, oh, I've got a fever, there must be something going on. Let's let the body do its thing. So what I would do is exactly what you did. I would go get in an infrared sauna. I would get in a red light bed. I would get in a hot shower or a hot bath. I would try to get under the covers like Granny said. I would want to induce and make that fever work more effectively, because when we can't spike the fever, we can't activate the immune system. And if we suppress it with Tylenol, which, as you know, I teach all the time, depletes glutathione.
Yeah, which is our master antioxidant
to help fight what's going on. So now I have suppressed my natural killer cells being activated with Tylenol, and I've suppressed my amount of glutathione, because if I don't process the Tylenol with the glutathione so that I can pee it out, then I can have liver failure. So we have to be careful.
It's a downward spiral,
It's just, I think that it's misinformation again, Janet, by the powers that be in the medical system, that, hey, we need to suppress a fever. And I'm not saying just let a fever go out of control. I tell moms all the time, if you're worried about your kid's fever, put them in a nice, cool bath of water, like just lukewarm, and just put a wash rag on their head that's wet with it and just let them sit there. And you'll almost always find that they will be just fine. Let them sleep. Mm-hmm. The more you can rest,
stay hydrated.
And stay hydrated is key. That's a great point. And so let the fever run its course, and everything will get better much quicker in almost all cases.
And it worked for me this week.
Well, and if you do things like the vitamin C and the vitamin D and the right probiotics and the right C and D, just as we've talked about with the factors and cofactors, you'll be shocked. And if you need a Viracid pack, get a Viracid pack. But
most people don't think about it necessary. Most people don't think, I'm getting sick, I need a probiotic, because it's like, what's that got to do with sickness? So I think in another podcast soon, we should go back to talking about the gut health.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Right.
How does that connect to your immune system? Because your immune system is made in your gut.
Right. Well, and just always remember, antibiotic may be necessary in some cases and certainly can save lives. Yeah. But it suppresses your own ability to fight off other infections. So it hinders your immune system by creating a negative response in your good gut bacteria. So an antibiotic is against life, a probiotic is for life. So if I can use the for life to get rid of the bacteria
and with no side effects,
with no side effects, that's what I want to start with.
Well, again, I've got so many more things that I could talk about from the weekend. I don't know if we have time to talk about one more, but if we do, I'd like to talk a little bit about, I've been doing the spike protein detox and wondering what you think about that. And I know you talked about it a little bit.
Well, Janet, I think there are things we can do to try to mitigate any spike proteins and things. When we say detox, I almost hesitate because I don't know of any specific research that says, hey, we can just get it out of our system. But I do know that we can mitigate the negative effects of the spike protein.
And what are the negative effects?
Well, probably the number one negative effect would be blood clotting. And number two is probably like where we have the attack on the heart, the myocarditis. Yeah. So there are things that we know we can do, and a lot of them are the things that I teach every day because they're the same things that help us be stronger. But with the addition of things like nattokinase, which is a natural way to help thin the blood, or more omega-3s, more of our fish focus. I mean, more vitamin D, I mean, there's so many things that we can do to help our sauna, red light, sweating, hot yoga.
Right.
I mean, there's so many things that we can do to try to mitigate any of the negative effects from a spike protein. And if in that process that detoxes it, even better.
Well, to close this one, it's amazing how things sometimes go full circle, or it feels like it's a small world, because at your annual summit, there will be people here that have never met you, and they're coming from different places. And so I have an amazing friend who is like a CrossFit coach and a boot camp girl, yoga teacher, very knowledgeable, like ripped, muscular. I mean, this girl is on it, and so far ahead of the curve at her young age. And so she was telling me that she listens to her friend, who's incredible and follows a lot of her health advice, and this friend happens to live in Atlanta. And so my friend signs up for the course, and she comes, and while she's here last weekend, she realizes that this girl that she takes some advice from and follows in Atlanta has always talked about this guy, Billy, and didn't realize it was you.
Oh, okay.
And she's already only takes your supplements.
Okay.
And then also sees the same doctor that we all see, and drives all the way from Atlanta to here to see your referring physician. Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of cool, small world.
Well, Janet, one of the things we didn't get to, maybe we need a part 3 because it's really important, is because we are out of time, but we ran across multiple people in the summit this weekend that are being mistreated completely with their hormone therapy.
With hormones.
And that is unfortunately very common. And we see it in men and women. And
everybody's running to get hormones right now because they're available.
And we talked about how a lot of these people will just say, hey, now I'm a spa or a medical spa or a hormone specialist. And they really don't have all the training that is, I believe, necessary to be able to do it and do it right. And one lady...
or to get the levels that are helping.
Well, one lady that was there was... And we talk about why most hysterectomies are unnecessary and could be prevented if we use the right hormones and really understood them. And that makes perfect sense to them when I say it. But
what did you say? The 2 operations that are the
hysterectomy and gallbladder removal are the 2 most unnecessary year after year if you look at the data. But, this lady had her hysterectomy at an early age, at a young age, and they gave her estradiol only with no progesterone, which you should, I'm going to tell everybody listening right now, you should never be on estradiol or any estrogen without adequate coverage from true bioidentical progesterone, not what the drug companies say is progesterone, because it's anti-progesterone. Keep that in mind. But then she ended up with a cancer, which they told her, oh gosh, that's driven by estrogen or estradiol. And we need to now block the thing that we've been giving you for 30 years because we didn't give you the thing that develops that.
Which is the progesterone.
So the estradiol did not drive the cancer. The lack of progesterone, which caused an imbalance of estradiol and progesterone, is what will drive the cancer. So those are tragedies, and those are things that are so easily prevented if people are doing it right. And the most egregious example for women is estradiol without bioidentical progesterone. And the most egregious example for men is testosterone with an aromatase inhibitor to block their estrogen. So, and I see it all the time, and I see it coming out of one of these newfangled clinics that you're very aware of. I see guys that are getting the testosterone and blocking the estrogen production with AI. and that is a clear path for increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. So we
Let's talk about that
really
next
careful,
time.
and we need to hit that. So yeah, part 3 maybe next time.
And I think a lot of times you're seeing all these wellness spas, and is it really wellness from the inside out, or is it more like a
look good
med spa doing the treatments from the outside in?
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good way to start taking
I'm
care
not
of yourself.
opposed to that, but we need to think about
we need to
long-term
understand
health span first,
right.
if you ask me.
Wow, what a great morning.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.